Hey everyone, have you ever just looked at a price tag and thought, yeah, that feels right, while another one just seems off? Well, today, we're going to decode the secret language of those price tags. Let's dive into this hidden world where numbers don't just count, they actually convince you. All right, so let's start with something you've seen a million times. It's a bit of a retail mystery that you run into literally every time you shop. Look at this. Why does $19.99 feel so much cheaper than 20 bucks? It's just 1 cent. So what is happening inside our brains that makes us see such a huge difference in value? What's really going on there?
Well, it all comes down to something called the left digit effect. See, since we read from left to right, our brain kind of latches onto that very first number it sees, the 1. So that 1 anchors the whole price in our mind. We don't see almost 20, we see 19 and some change. The 99 cents, it just sort of fades into the background.
And this isn't some accident. It's not like businesses just stumbled on this weird quirk of our brains. Nope, it is a very deliberate, very well-researched strategy. And it has an aim.
And that brings us to psychological pricing. The key here really is that it's less about the actual cost of something and all about how we feel about that cost. It's about perception. The whole goal is to use numbers to make a price feel like a steal, or maybe feel super luxurious, or even make you feel like you have to buy it right now.
So how exactly do they pull this off? Well, let's open up the marketer's toolkit, so to speak, and see the exact techniques they use to get into our heads and, shape how we spend our money.
Okay, you can pretty much group these strategies into 3 big categories. You've got the ones that just mess with how the numbers look, the ones that frame it like you're winning some kind of value game, and then the ones that create that feeling of urgency. The I have to buy this now feeling.
All right, first up, the one you see everywhere, charm pricing. This is the absolute master of making something look like a deal. When you see a price ending in 0.99 or 0.97, the store is basically yelling at you, hey, this is a bargain. It's a mental shortcut that just makes you feel like you're getting a good deal.
But then you've got the total opposite of that. It's called whole number pricing. So think about luxury brands. There are no clever 99s here, just a simple, round number, like $100. It feels confident. It feels prestigious. It's signaling that the value isn't in some cheap discount. It's in the quality of the product itself.
And this comparison just lays it all out perfectly. You see that Tom Ford shirt for $440, and it feels like an investment, right? A serious quality piece. Then you see the H&M shirt for $699, and it feels like a total steal you can just toss in your cart without a second thought. The price is telling 2 completely different stories.
But the tricks can get even more subtle than that. It's not just about the numbers. It's about how they're written down. Ever notice on a fancy menu how the dollar sign is just gone? Or maybe the price is in a smaller font. That's all done on purpose. It's a way to reduce what psychologists call the pain of paying. It just makes the price feel a little less like you're spending actual money.
Now, this is where it gets really wild. This next one isn't about what we see, it's about what we hear in our own heads. It turns out we perceive prices with fewer syllables as being cheaper. So even though the number is higher, a price like $28.16, 5 syllables, sounds cheaper to our brain than $27.82, 7 syllables. Isn't that crazy? That sound alone can make it feel like a better deal.
Okay, and then there's this tactic, which totally plays on our brain's struggle with math on the fly. It's a concept called innumeracy. So look at these 2 deals, 50% off of 2 items versus buy one, get one 50% off. Now, do the math. They're exactly the same deal. But buy one, get one feels so much better, right? It feels like you're getting a freebie or a bonus. The way the deals is framed is way more powerful than the math behind it.
And here's another classic move. This one's straight out of the value game playbook. It's called comparative pricing. You've seen this. They put a super expensive option right next to the one they actually want you to buy. Suddenly, that standard option doesn't look so expensive anymore. It looks like a bargain. It totally reframes your decision. You're not asking, do I need this anymore? You're asking, which one is the smart choice?
So pricing isn't just about value, it can also be about pressure. And that's where the urgency play comes in.
Things like flash sale or limited time only or while supplies last. All of that creates this artificial sense of scarcity. It's designed to trigger your FOMO, your fear of missing out, and it pushes you to make a snap decision before the logical part of your brain can step in and say, hey, wait a minute.
But, for all their power, these tools are risky. They're not a magic bullet. For any business, this stuff is a real double-edged sword, and you've got to handle it carefully.
I mean, on the one hand, yeah, these tactics are pretty easy to use, and they can for sure grab attention and boost sales in the short run. But, and this is a big but, if you overdo it or use them in the wrong way, your brand can start to feel kind of cheap or manipulative. Think about it. If a high-end luxury brand suddenly started putting 99 on everything, you'd start to question their quality, right? It could really hurt their reputation.
Okay, so we've gone through the marketer's whole bag of tricks, and we've seen the risks. So what's the bottom line here? What does this all mean for you?
Well, the biggest takeaway is that you basically have a new superpower now. You get that prices are more than just numbers. They're telling you a story. So if you're running a business, you can now use this stuff to tell the right story about your product's value. And if you're a consumer, well, now you can see the matrix. You can spot these tactics out in the wild and make smarter, more conscious choices about what you're actually paying for.
So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know all the secrets, are you ever going to look at a price tag the same way again? Because now when you see that 99 or that menu with no dollar signs, you'll know exactly what's going on. You'll know the story they're trying to tell you. And that doesn't just make you a smarter shopper. It really gives you this whole new way of seeing the hidden psychology that's all around us every single day.